Okay, so I have a 2002 Majestic motorhome with a Onan generator, micro quiet 4000, and I was having issues with it not starting. It would start briefly and then shut off. It had been sitting for a while. The gas was probably going bad. It hadn't been run since probably driven since June of last year. Right now it's March, and what was going on was I think it was starting for fuel. Originally had the code on the switch here that when you go to start it, it would start and then shut off, and it would blink 3 times. And so, like other YouTube videos, if you press the stop prime 1 time, it would show you the code, and it was putting out a code of 336, which means there was nothing wrong with the ECU over here, but there was possibly something wrong with either spark or fuel. So what I did was ended up trying to just figuring the carb was gummed up, which is what actually happened. Disconnected the fuel line here. I did drop the carb bowl out and actually pulled the whole carburetor out. I really found out later that I probably didn't need to do that. But while I had the carb out, I sprayed carburetor cleaner in it, and the one thing I was a little concerned about was this little mixture knob for altitude, because I read somewhere that that was pretty important for the generator to actually even run in the first place. And so after spraying carb cleaner and stuff in it and putting it all back together, I still couldn't get it to run. It would start and then it would immediately die, so it was still most likely fuel starvation. So what I did was this morning I came back here and disconnected the fuel line and verified in a gas can, ran the fuel in the gas can and pushed start, so the fuel pump was working fine, pumping out plenty of fuel. The other thing I did was another guy online had taken the fuel line down, and I sprayed some carb cleaner in there and tried to fill it up as much as I could, reattached it, primed it, and let it sit for about maybe 20 minutes or something. And then while I was doing that, to make sure the carb cleaner that was in the bowl at that time was being utilized by this adjustment here, I would just work this adjustment back and forth to try to loosen up any varnish that was there. And miraculously, finally, after about 3 days of trying this thing out, the generator actually started and ran. So I think the main culprit here in this situation was this particular little needle adjustment that also adjusts, the fuel going out of the bowl and I believe up into the main jet there, that wouldn't allow it to run. So now it seems to be everything's working fine. Little prime there. The other thing I did do previously, though, is put in the gas tank about 1.5 cans, almost 2 cans of seafoam, just to stabilize the gas and help clean the carb and keep it clean and that sort of thing. And then what I'm going to do going forward here is starting the generator at least once a month to make sure that we don't have this issue again, because it was really a pain. I guess these things are pretty sensitive and pretty well known for gumming up like that. So that's all I got. Hopefully you guys have success out there with it.